Okay, third time lucky, everyone. A quick story. Basically, this is the third time we've had Ross in this wonderful social hub of positivity. Nothing to do with Ross that we've had him in the 3 times. It's just that we had a first meeting which we recorded, and it went on for however many hours. We realised then, Ross realised that he hadn't talked about a really important part of his work, which is to do with youth justice, etc. So I said, oh no, we've got to come back in and we'll cut those 2 interviews together. Anyway, 2 interviews and 4 hours of conversation later, we then tried to mash them together, try to release it last week. The sound became unsynced. I think the sound didn't want anything to do with the visuals. It looked at us and thought, nah, I want to be coming out of those guys' mouths. You're a wonderful person, thank you. And so we've asked him for the 3rd time, so I'm really hoping
we've got to stay focused.
We can stay focused. I mean, we're not going to talk about Tottenham, even though we're both joyous Tottenham supporters at the moment. We are going to talk merely purely about a little bit of your backstory if you want to. Yeah. I don't care. Let's do an hour. You say what you want to say, talk about what you want to talk about. You're a good geezer. Have the floor, sir. Clean it after you.
That'll be tough. That'll be to keep you quiet. I did because I watched that Eddie Izzard from about a few years back, and I was watching that. I thought, he's just like Ed. He's animated, you know. He's just coming up with all this
far more intelligent
stuff, and
he's far more intelligent, articulate, vocabulary.
It did make me smile.
Oh bless! It's the Eddie bit, isn't it?
Oh yeah, yes.
So
me, Chippenham, born and bred.
Yeah.
God, I was the last of the grammar school year.
Yeah.
Chippenham Grammar School. Long time ago now. So the last of the 11 plus. Born in Chippenham, Greenways, sadly knocked down. It's a tax office now. So.
Wow. So 2 things that are definitely going to happen: death and taxes.
Yes.
In the same birth and taxes.
Birth and taxes. Yeah. On the same plot. St Paul's School, Ivy Lane School, Chippenham Grammar. Went away to uni.
Yeah.
Did a degree in geography and geology. Failed the 3rd year, probably because it just got a bit waylaid at university, as a lot of people did. And decided to go travelling. That was hippie days. I was a hippie, so I went off travelling to India.
Nice.
And kept going. My original plan was to come back after a year and take that 3rd year again.
I see.
Because geography and geology, I'm lovely. I mean, it was nice talking to Donna about the, geography people.
Cartographers.
Geography, cartographers. You know, there's just a feeling there that you know these people better than other people. But I kept on going. You know, ended up in Australia when I think we had a 3-day week. Stuff like that going on here at the time. That was 1975.
74, Yeah.
So I didn't particularly want to come back. And Australia was great. Worked in a brickyard, 6 months in Perth. Then I went off to New Zealand for 6 months, which I've just been talking about with somebody actually. Toured New Zealand on a motorbike, got a job, picked apples, hung out. It was great. Went back to Sydney. I was in Sydney for a year and a half. Worked at the ABC television studios there as a cleaner. It was my own contract. So I was like a contract cleaner, not just. But that was funny. That was a great insight into how TV worked.
Yeah.
Props department and all the rest of it. Then went back to New Zealand for another 3 or 4 months. My girlfriend at that time was a New Zealand Maori girl, who I'm still in touch with. Wow. She's in New Zealand caring for her mum. Much like me, I'm here in England caring for my mum. I'm a carer for my mum.
Yeah. How old's your mum then?
90.
Wow, fair play.
Chippenham girl.
Yeah.
Lives in Devizes now, but it's difficult. Anybody who's a family member carer, it's a tough job. It's a tough job.
Yeah.
I had a conversation with her yesterday about moving on.
It's hard, isn't it?
Yeah.
A lot of it about now,
because she's got dementia. She's not really bad, but it's getting worse.
Oh, it's not bad at 19. That's amazing.
Yeah, so anyway, and then I went on to South America. I lived in Central and South America for a couple of years, and then came back to this country on April Fool's Day, 1980.
Well, you write your own script for that, people.
It was great times, great times. Yeah. Sydney, I loved living in Sydney. It was just a beautiful city. In fact, my friend of mine's just going off to live there now, and I'm so jealous. We got a bit drunk the other night talking about all the my memories of Sydney.
But it's changed a lot since then, hasn't it?
Yeah, I don't think that the centre probably won't have changed, but it's got
the psychology of them. There are all sorts of trouble with China now as well.
Yeah,
it's all sorts of conflicts, isn't there, with regard to the empirical desires of the Chinese government.
Yep.
Not in the way that England did. Obviously, they're just going around buying stuff, whereas the English, of course, stole it. Let's not get into that, shall we?
No, because we'll get distracted again, and then we'll be off.
So let's
be off somewhere else.
So your world travels have actually informed a lot of your thoughts around humanity and its interrelationship with its right.
Yes, I mean.
So bring it all back home then. Why and how did you get involved in local politics?
Well, when I came back, I drifted along for a while. I got involved in Calne, actually, in a manpower services commission. It was called Instant Muscle, and it was a way of getting young people off the dole and providing work for young unemployables. And I was one of the managers with Ken Province, and we did well. We did pretty good for a while because we had a bit of financial backing, and we made a little workshop and started making stuff for kids and doing odd jobs around the town and around the area. That was good, and then I met my wife, Brenda, and settled down with her. That was about 1983, something like that. And we lived together for a while. And around the time I met her, actually we'd been up to London to on the train, Ken and I, to some Manpower Services Commission seminar or something, and on the way back there was Chris Graham, who was the Liberal Democrat, or the Liberal that in those days, candidate for Chippenham, and Ken knew him, and we ended up having a chat, and he said, "Ross, you're just the sort of person we want on the council, somebody with somebody who's been around a bit, somebody who's done stuff." And I said, "Well, no, I don't." Anyway, I got persuaded, and I stood for the town council in 1983. I didn't get elected, but by then I was kind of hooked. So in 1985, I stood for what was Wiltshire County Council in Park, which was the area where I lived, where I went to school, where I was born. So, and thankfully, I was returned. So I became a member of Wiltshire County Council, and that was at a time when the Liberal SDP alliance, because I was an SDP man. Right. Because I wanted a new direction. I didn't want to be in the mould of those old parties that were always moaning at each other, and I wanted to see a new direction. That's why I joined the SDP. But we couldn't manage on our own. We became the Liberal SDP Alliance, and in 1985 we took control with the backing of the Labour councillors from Swindon. We took control of Wiltshire County Council. Wow. And but I didn't last too long, because then came the big axe that came down through my own fault, of course, and I was sent to prison for smuggling drugs. Mm-hmm.
Which is well documented, isn't it?
Yeah,
And listen, just so people think might be thinking I'm trying to cover it up for you. I'm not. Ross has always been very forthright about this. First time I met you, when you came to the real cinema to see our film thing, it was fantastic, and we talked about your knowledge, and that was really useful.
It's the experience. Not many people, especially people in my position now.
That's exactly right. So anyone that wants to read about or doesn't know about your history, you've always been forthright about it, and it really was interesting, because if you think, we were talking about county lines in those films, really, and it was part one of them. And it's like, when we have been up and down the country working, sometimes we come up against people who have only got their information from the news or from documentaries or whatever. You had a really good wealth of life experience. Some you regretted, and like most people do, but at least you've been really forthright about it. You've been honest. You served your time. You've done the crime. Served your time. You've done your porridge. Now you're out utilising that for many years. Let's face it, that was a big part of your history. In a way, in my eyes, it makes you more of a more credible human being to be representing people, because you have a wider spread of knowledge about what people are going through and why that someone like myself wants to stop people going to prison. So you get it. It's like, all right, okay, I can talk to you. You have an exact understanding of what I've experienced of working inside a prison. You understand it firsthand, and I hope and I believe are trying your best to try and stop as many people getting there as possible.
It's a monstrous place, and it's no holiday camp. I tell you. You just take the place where you are, and your freedom is gone. It is, I could well up. But I just will say that my charges were all from 1983, 1982. I wasn't. When I met Brenda, life changed.
Yes,
I had a ready-made family, all the rest of it. I was into the politics, but when a friend of mine from South America turned up with a whole load in his suitcase, with my name and address in his, and the whole thing collapsed anyway. And I just went, well, this is what I did. Yeah. I was never. It was never big time. I was just an old hippie. A young hippie in those days, and just bumbling along in life. I wasn't the international
Pablo Escobar. I'm laughing. I call him Pablo.
That's why you call me Pablo.
Yeah. What do you think it was?
I didn't.
I love it. The fact that I called you Pablo and you didn't tweet. Why do you think I called you Pablo?
Well, I don't know. I thought this bloke's a bit odd. Why is he calling me Pablo?
Why's he calling Pablo? Hello, my friend.
It's no laughing matter.
No, it's not.
Listen, prison.
Of course, it's not. And
when I came out, and I think, I was still. The support I got from people, my friends, my family, was 100% all the way through. Because it's devastating. Prison. You feel like a social pariah. Well, you are, I suppose. You just feel like the whole world's against you. And I remember somebody in prison saying to me, "Never go back to your hometown, because they'll all know you and they'll all point at you and they'll all, they'll make your life horrible." And that went through my mind. Maybe I should run away. But I couldn't. My family. And going to the first council meeting up at the Causeway, with Brenda, she said no, because she was on the council at the time. She said, "You're coming with me." And I remember trying to walk up the Causeway, and I was in tears. My legs were shaking. So I can't do it. I can't face all those people. I can't face all those people that I used to work with, and the opposition parties, myself, everybody, the tank clerk, And anyway, I went. But one of the things that came out of that, and that leads us on to the youth offending team. After that, I became, a couple of years later, I got a job working for Gauger Brothers. And it's funny, I always thought, I went to prison and then I came out and I was a ground worker for Gauger Brothers. And of course they were, and it was like hard labour. I've done my time, but now I've got to do the hard labour.
Breaking rocks in the hot sun.
He
fought the war and
18 months before, I was vice chairman of the Transport and Highways Committee, and then 18 months, 2 years later, I was out in the road, mending the roads. So it was like I was there, and then I was there.
It gives you an experiential spread, doesn't it? Though, and it's useful, hopefully.
I always think of Kipling. Dines with kings and princes, nor lose the common touch. Maybe. But the youth offending team was great. When I applied, they weren't sure. Now Griff Daniels, and you knew Griff.
Griff.
You knew Griff.
Fantastic.
He said, "Ross, we want you. Yeah. You know what it's like. You know what it is, and you're gonna be great talking to these kids." And they had to go up to because it was a pilot. Around that time, setting it up.
We were involved in Wiltshire with Bob Ashcroft. Same time doing our creative sort of workshops around offending, because we'd worked with in prisons, as I say. I had working with Geese Theatre Company in prisons. That's where I got my experience, and I wanted to stop kiddies going there. So that's same thing.
It's same thing. And it had to go up to the Home Office because I had a record and they had to look at do we want ex-offenders?
Do we want people who know the world of these people that we're trying to change? Do we want them to be talking to them, or do we want some experts?
Thankfully, they said yes.
Good, fair play to them.
I was thinking, because I'm just talking to you and our other chats. I was thinking back to the time when there was one lad who came in and he had his hood up and he wouldn't engage. All he did was sit there swearing. His mother was there in tears. He was just being, you know.
Yeah. That was me.
And I lost my rag. I was working in Malmesbury or somewhere. I drove all the way down to Trowbridge for this meeting. And I get there, and this kid is just not engaging, and I lost my rag, and I thought afterwards they're going to chuck me out, because I said, what, I tore into this kid, and I gave him the story about, you're a pretty boy, they'll love you in the showers. Here, is that your soap on the floor, sonny? All that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And I swore at him as well, because he was giving it some.
Yeah.
And afterwards, he sort of he calmed down and he came out of it a bit, and I went out the room because I was feeling a bit like. Griff came out after me and said, I'm so sorry, Griff. I'm so sorry. I just lost it. And he said, that was exactly what that kid needed. Somebody with the direct experience of where he was going to shake him out of it. I'd love to know what he's doing now.
Yeah. Oh, he's in prison, but at least he knew that he would have a good time in the showers. Thank you for that.
Yeah, I know. It's prison.
It's not. I make light of it now only because you need that sort of sense of humour to continue doing the work. Because I have cried, I have done all sorts.
The range of emotions is immense in situations like that. One minute you're laughing, the next minute you're sobbing your heart out.
Absolutely.
Manic.
So the youth offending I get, and that's great experience. So what is the draw or the drive behind you to maintain and keep plugging away at this local council sort of idea, local politics?
I don't know. I think when I came out of prison, I felt I really wanted to give something back. I really wanted to make amends, and that was probably the seed, which was watered and nurtured in the youth offending team to find that I could use my experience, and not only in prison but also with all over different places all over the world, and different peoples all over the world. I've lived in mud huts up mountains, and I've lived in really nice places in all that travelling. And to put that bit into my hometown, which I love. This is Chippenham. Chippenham.
No, my dad was in the RAF, and so we travelled all over. And this is one of the last places I lived before I went to London to make my fame and fortune. And you realise how famous and fortunate I am. I made a great success of it. I had a great old crack, but here's the bit. I wanted to come back here. Of all the places we lived, I've lived in some great places, but there's something quite unique about this area, and that's why I don't want it to be full of houses and roads, Ross, man.
We'll get to that.
But it's true, just even from my perspective, working in sustainable development, there wasn't enough facility for young people before this pandemic, mental health, all that sort of good stuff. So I guess for me, I've been driven, because I was fortunate enough to be able to come back to this area, and I love it. I love it in lots of ways, and I don't consider myself to be a Chippenham person in as much as I came here when I was about 15. Went to a great school.
Why so many people want to come to Chippenham?
I mean,
it's
the people for me. I mean, there is some absolute
really lovely people. I think I told you one of the other ones about the when I went on Any Questions. The radio version of Question Time.
Yeah.
And it was up at
Any Answers, is it?
Any
Answers
is on the Saturday.
It's Saturday, yeah.
But so it was up at Abbeyfield School, and I went along, and I thought I'll get in straight away on this. It was a time when Ken Clarke was. He was Justice Minister.
Does he come across to you as someone that knows what he's talking about,
Yeah,
and he's got quite a balance?
I like him.
Yeah,
you know? I mean, you talk about politics. You know,
Yeah.
Tony Benn, far left. You know,
Absolutely.
But
a member of the aristocracy.
Yes,
Anthony Wedgwood
yes,
said.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
and
so
Ken
he
Clarke,
can
you know, they're
Yeah.
different sides of the political spectrum, but I respect them both.
Me
you
too,
know,
and that's
if
why I
I
don't like party politics.
If I picked anybody, if I had picked up the team, you know,
Yeah.
like at school.
Oh, you could get the best out
I'd
of
get
each,
those two,
which
yeah.
is what they should have done with the pandemic, isn't it? They should have really,
they should have
all the
done
way
that.
through it, they should have had the best thinkers in each party
Yeah.
on it all the time for the common good.
Well,
why.
that was what was mooted when we had the big financial crash.
Well, there's the thing. So
Yeah,
anything
so
like
that
which was also a man-made disaster, you know, the economy, the stock market, absolute myths, and only there for the for the 1% to keep milking us. But anyway, anything like those situations, you get people like Ken Clarke, and you think, well, if he was my local MP, now I guess I don't know, morally I couldn't vote for a Conservative just because it would be like voting.
You'd vote for the bloke, wouldn't you?
You'd want to, wouldn't you?
Yes, I know.
Having said that, Teresa Hutton, absolutely, you know.
I watched your interview with her, and I kind of felt she was great. I did feel sorry for her. Her mayoral year has been during a pandemic.
Do you know why I thought that? Do you not think that
because
she
I tell you,
another year?
I'll call them jollies, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's not. It's part of the job. You're representing. You're the mayor of your town. You're representing the town in all the places you go.
Yeah.
But some of the things that the people I met, fantastic.
Yeah.
All from all walks of life.
Yeah.
The amount of charity works and charitable works that goes on. I think there was something like 320 within a 5-mile radius of Chippenham. All these different organisations who are doing things for other people. But it was the things like the regimental dinner at Lavington.
Yeah.
What a great crack!
Absolutely.
What a great crack!
So I think she should be given another year.
Yeah, she'll get.
But I mean,
I'm pretty. I would imagine she'll get re-elected.
Well,
let's
not
say
just
that. So she'll get another chance.
So.
She'll get another chance of mayor. But I mean, we have.
I just think that just because of of course. But I think
have done 3 or 4.
Oh no! My brother up in Alnwick, he did 2. What I'm saying is, Labour. I'm not a political person. I'm just saying that's what he represented. Teresa is one of them ones. If she'd never said her party politics because of her nature of where she comes from, I would assume naturally that she was very empathetic, which she is. The job that she does, all those things. It's like, wow, I could quite happily have her representing our town.
Yes, you'd have her on the team.
On the team, all over the country. She could go anywhere. Shame about the party that she belongs to, because she doesn't really. She couldn't possibly be a real Tory.
As mayor,
what a lovely human being.
She can't be political as mayor.
Well, it's not even that. I would imagine if I sat down long enough with any of the politicians that are local, and they would explain to me, really, their lineage. You really are. You're a Tory, are you? Are you really? Have you seen the history of this party? Nah, they're not Tories. They're, I guess
they're people who join
local parties
one
because
club to another club because it's your friends or
I get it.
I get it. Or it's the first person that comes and talks to you.
Yeah.
I mean,
but I actually found.
I've got another story.
Go on then. Do it.
No, I want to go back.
I just want everyone to realise that they listen to me if they do. Christ bless them if they do. But it's that thing. It's like I couldn't. Every Tory I've met have been horrible people. Of course they're not. What a lovely, absolute lovely human being. I love her to bits.
Yeah.
Shame that and I know why she did. Why she joined the Tory party. Bless her. And it's like, but I just. That's it. It's like, it makes it so difficult. Ken Clarke.
I'll have another. There's another story on that, but I want to come back to any questions.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Of course. Sorry, buddy.
So I was.
Stop it.
Yes. See, I've got my list here.
Good lad. Someone needs a list.
Keep us
It's so hard. It's so hard. Sorry, everyone. Carry on. 3 days later.
Yeah. Well, on the way in, they were saying, if you like to ask a question, write it down. So I wrote down, and the reason why you're asking the question.
Yeah.
So I thought, I've got the biggest hook in Chippenham at the moment.
And that's what
I
he
wrote
says.
down, because Ken Clarke was Justice Minister. He wanted to change the criminal justice system. He wanted to sort of really turn it around, because it is. I'm not allowed to swear. It isn't in the best place. So I asked the question, will Ken Clarke be able to push through, not verbatim, but push through with his reforms in the criminal justice system, or will the hang 'em and flog 'em brigade win through? And why did he? I was a councillor and I went to prison and I became mayor of Chippenham subsequently. So I can imagine about the BBC. Yes, we'll have it. So I asked the question, and we had a good chat. They all had a good chat about it and about Ken and the criminal justice system. And then they came back to me and asked me what I thought. And I said, yes, well, I'm with Ken Clarke, and I'm a Liberal Democrat, but I'm with Ken Clarke because he wants to really change stuff. And they also asked something about, how did you win through as mayor or something? And I said, because of the good people of Chippenham and North Wiltshire have supported me through this, and they are some of the best people in the world. And there was a big cheer went up, and there was all this clapping and everything. And afterwards, I spoke to Wendy Johnson because she always used to listen to it over in Swindon, an old friend of mine. She said, yeah, it's the biggest clap I've ever heard on Questions.
Makes you proud, doesn't it?
Yeah, it did. I'll get all emotional. I am a bit of an emotional.
Well, that's the sort of people I think that should be, not, irrationally emotional, empathetic, understand people's needs, the needs of each of us, have an equitable society where people don't take, it seems, pleasure out of exploiting those with the least to add a few more noughts and dots or whatever to their portfolios of avarice and disgust. Yeah. Can I say it like that without being arrested? I bet you'll get arrested. I bet you'll get arrested, Commish. Oh no! Oh, I've been arrested! Don't worry, I've been in the prison before. It's marvellous.
It's all right. I'll be your.
Now I'm going to go down
for
for
life.
You're going to say represent this.
Yes,
you bring back hanging for me.
No, I'd say, don't say anything.
Yes, don't say it.
Deny.
Too late.
The things you pick up in those fields. Deny.
Yeah.
Never admit anything, which I can't do. If I go, yeah, fair cop, mate.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? Because we, I guess, as a society, need to really look at. This is a great opportunity, I think. Look at some of the ideas that we thought were viable before. HSD, for instance. What a crazy.
What a waste of time.
Waste of money, it's just about money. I wonder whether these people are going to live.
It's a vanity project.
Isn't it? It's crazy.
It's madness.
Crazy. I think, I'm sad. I'm sad for the world that we actually. I'm sad for the Conservatives in a way. I'm sad for them. I know that.
Would Labour have done an HS2? Because it was on the cards. It was always bubbling under. If Labour had come in, would they have said, "Oh yes, we better push on with this"?
Any of those people, I don't trust any of them. There is, the whole idea of Labour. The exception is actually, fortunately or unfortunately, bizarrely, he was probably born in the same hospital as you. Jeremy Corbyn has stuck to his principles since day one.
He was born in the Pines Hotel.
Was he now? That sounds a bit rude. You mean that was what, really? Yeah, that was with the hotel.
No, it was a nursing home.
I see.
It was a nursing home. Okay. He was.
I was hoping he was born because my son Shay was born.
Well, I'm led to believe. I met a lady who worked.
But we've lost our opportunity as a society to have somebody that has some integrity, head of a political party. Never changed any of his principles or his ideas since day one. So there's got to be something about that. However, I think it all gets this personality politics doesn't work. Party politics doesn't work. Local politics on local issues. So again, these housing, this distributed loan. Tell me what your thoughts are, because I mean, not only do you know that I don't think there was enough infrastructure, youth service, etc., mental health for our communities before.
When we say about infrastructure, we don't mean roads.
No, I'm on about the youth service, youth centre. Yeah. I'm not even talking about a county, by the way, not a council-run youth service, because that's about as much a chance of working as it did before. and it can be just disbanded at the drop of a hat. What we need is, in all sorts of aspects of our society, the right people in the right jobs. That'll be, if you're going to do a test and trace, you'd have the National Health Service. They're world renowned for being brilliant. If you're going to have injections and vaccine, the National Health Service. You're going to want a railway service, a national railway service that links everything, and there's no competition other than for everyone to get there quicker, less environmental impact, etc., etc. Why do you think that we need these new roads and houses? Or do you? I mean, I was just...
Well, no, I mean, come on, I've lived in Chippenham all my life, apart from the 5 years. Well, I don't know, I've lived in Malmesbury, Castle Combe.
Yeah.
I currently live in Cowan.
Yeah.
I moved to Cowan when my partner got pregnant. She lived in Cowan, I lived in Chippenham.
Yeah.
So I said, come live in Chippenham. She said, no way, I want to stay in Cowan. So what does a man do?
Absolutely.
He does what his partner says.
Yeah.
Well, I would hope so, in most occasions anyway.
Yeah.
So that's why I live in Cowan. So I've been in Chippenham all my life. I learned to ride a motorbike where Monkton Park is.
Yeah.
Across the fields when I was, 12 or something, on 98cc James, with 2 gears and all the rest of it. So that was a field. Pewsham was a field. It was an ancient woodland. Quite a long time ago. Chippenham Forest. If you look back, but I don't know. They probably cut all the trees down, and then there was just left with this mess, and they thought we built houses there. But then Seapham Park North, I played in those fields as a child. I played in all the fields that have been built on around Chippenham as a child. So I'm well aware that Chippenham is growing and grows. My little cottage opposite the West End Club on the Marshfield Road used to be in the parish of Langley Borough. Loudon used to be a little village on the edge of Chippenham. A village.
Yeah.
So, and it's all been subsumed.
Yeah, but I mean, that progress, that population, etc.,
towns grow.
Of course they do, absolutely.
Like an onion.
Yes.
They get another layer.
Yes.
So,
but you don't want like an onion where when you peel out the thing, you start crying because you realise what a disaster you've made it. Because if these things went hand in hand, if the environmental concerns, the biodiversity concerns, and the social infrastructure cohesion concerns were at the forefront of any planning, I'd be with you all the way. If there was a way to do all these things that made sense on all those levels, the Venn diagram of sustainable development, taking the environment, the society and the economy in equal measures, you're going to come up with a sustainable system. However, none of the ideas, these 3 distributor roads, how dare anyone in local government or in think that they can impose, say a consultation that says you've got 3 children, you can have it anyway.
No.
Absolutely disgraceful. Anyone that was involved in that should really seriously consider about working somewhere else.
I agree. It's been really badly handled, and it should have been done over a period of time. I mean, in the 50s, there was a road pegged out around Chippenham. It was going to be a Chippenham ring road, and it was pegged out, but it was stopped then by the local council, who were mainly shop owners in the town, so they didn't want the cars going round the town because they wanted them to come into the town to be to spend money in their shops. So that passed. That was a big thing that was missed. I'll come back to the housing. I mean, the numbers that Wiltshire Council are proposing for Chippenham it's ridiculous. It's
when you say Wiltshire Council, who are you talking about? Because I want people to be really clear.
They look
councils are about people, for the people.
Yeah.
So it's far too long. They've tried to impose their redundant ideas on communities.
But part of
like the youth service, nice one.
Yeah, no, don't go. We'll come to the youth service.
This is another example of what I'm saying is, who are these people?
One of the things the council has to do is try to plan growth. Otherwise, it would just be.
Oh no, I get it.
It'd just be bonkers. A bit like because we haven't got the 5-year land supply. There's already 2 or 3 big housing estates gone through because we can't demonstrate that they're not part of the plan. And so they're in an area which is unsustainable, so they shouldn't be built.
Yeah.
But because we haven't got that 5-year land supply, there's Rawlings Green, there's one in Malmesbury, and one, I sit on the Strategic Planning Committee. I voted against these, by the way. Down at Semmington, that's gone through as well. And this
But
will
who
carry
are
on.
these people? It's got to be this, man. It's got to be. It's got to be
it is.
developers and backenders. Who are expose these people?
That's why the council are put in a position to be able to try and control it.
Yeah.
And so that is so. And also, I mean, looking at Chippenham, they're bunging a load of houses in Chippenham because Chippenham it's got the railway line and it's right next to the motorway, and it's got the room around it to do it. The brownfield sites in Chippenham are more or less all gone.
Yeah. Okay. So
the
how about this
beautiful fields of Seapham Park I've played on as a child.
Yeah.
And now the people.
I'm not talking about these things because I have a penchant for beautiful landscape and vistas and taking photographs of fields that we used to run around in kids. I'm obviously, as the founder of a sustainable development organisation, very aware of not only the environmental impact that these ridiculous proposals are going to inflict on the people that are locked into essentially a secular situation where there's ever more expanse, ever less access to Greenland. The floodplains are going to be built on. There's going to be more flooding. It's just a disaster.
And floodplains won't get built.
Are you sure? Yeah. I think you'll find if you were to look at the
unless-
Marden Valley and look at...
Unless we had a 10,000 year flood, which we could well do.
Mate, I wouldn't trust
but
this.
If we did that, the town centre would be 10 foot underwater as well.
Oh,
so,
no, of course. I
I
just think
do
all the
think
priorities
so.
have changed.
So
I don't think we've got enough money to
the
spend
towns
waste.
will continue. Every town has to grow.
How does that work? Surely
Well,
we have to...
because all these people come in here.
Yeah,
why?
why?
You born in Chippenham?
Mate, you've got to be grateful that you come to Chippenham.
Well,
My son-
I welcome you to come to Chippenham, but
I came here because of the
people
Royal Air
have to
Force.
come to Chippenham.
I came to the Royal Air Force because of the Royal Air Force. I get what you're saying, but there has to be
So
a finance. Are you
let's
saying
have
then,
some
listen to
houses
what you're
for
saying,
these
are you saying that one day all the towns, all the world in England are going to be linked because they're just going to expand? There has to be a rational way of containing each feasible pod.
I don't want to even talk about limiting the sizes of families, stopping immigration,
I'm talking
mass extinction event, because I told you I'm a geologist.
Yeah, we're in one.
Every nearly, I think, apart from sharks and cockroaches,
they'll survive.
nearly every species that there has ever been on Earth. You see the timeline, and they start off as a little group, on some island somewhere, and then they get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and they come up like this, and they get bigger and wider, and there's more. The population grows, and then the population grows, and then suddenly they go. The population, because it's always multiplying itself, expands tremendously. So there's like a little thing, it's like a spinning top, and then it comes out, a big thing like that, comes back, and there's some kind of mass extinction event, and they're all gone.
Or wars,
so
or whatever.
This is, one of the things about the geology is the key to the present is in the past.
I agree. So what are we going to learn
and the
from
key
that?
to the future is in the past and the present.
Right.
So we have to grow through. So we have to do.
But you're
but
taking
it
into
needs-
account the sustainable development aspects of
absolutely.
environment,
It needs to
biosphere,
be done.
stratosphere.
So I've represented the area in Chippenham I represent is Rowden and Loudon, and it is blighted with traffic. It is blighted with the results of cross-town traffic.
Cross-town traffic. I've always wanted an
Jimi
excuse to play
Hendrix.
this.
I
Thank
know,
you.
Jimi
Yes,
Hendrix.
my friend. I think the answer is
Just
less
to get
traffic.
to get me to you. That's all it is. It's to get me to you.
Get more public transport, less cars, less oil, less fossil fuels.
Well, we'll all be driving hydrogen in 20 years.
Or not, or having a brilliant infrastructural link between Cairn, Devizes, Corsham, the railway put back in, so it's electric or it's made from. I don't care.
Yeah.
But what I'm
Well,
saying
no,
is deliver your cargo on trains. Cut down on motorways.
That's something we wanted to do years ago.
Yeah,
we wanted
let's do
to develop Thingley Junction.
Yeah.
You know Thingley
Yeah.
Junction.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
And Shall Farm, Shower Farm. This was years ago when I was on the district council as well as the town council.
Yeah.
And the county council. And when we were at the district council, what we wanted to do was to develop Shower Farm, or that part of that area down there, as a big industrial place with Thingley as its depot, as it were, so that all the stuff could go on the rail. Yeah. Anyway, that got stopped.
Re-energise the idea, because we have to rethink.
Yes, yeah, we do. We need employment. We definitely need employment.
Yeah, I'd say that we need to re-engage.
Everybody talks about a donut of Chippenham as well. No. I suspect Claire did when she said Chippenham has been donutted.
No, she didn't.
It's not my kind of. Did you know what my kind of donut is? It's got jam in the middle. It's not got a hole.
I don't like these. You're right, yeah.
It's got jam in the middle.
I think the county farms.
For the town centre of Chippenham is jam.
But let's have the county farms. Let's have our young people learning how to grow food. Let's have locally grown, locally sourced food.
My idea has always been is that we do need a road that will take the eastern traffic, and there's loads of it. I come from Cowan quite often, and and they're all wanting to get to Bath, Bristol, or the motorway. Yeah. So all the people from coming from Devizes, Cowan, Marlborough, all the villages that side.
Get a train.
They
from Cowan.
Wouldn't it be? Yeah.
Get a train. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. The only response.
What about the builder in his van?
Yeah, get a train.
No, he can't.
No. But what I'm saying is, here's the idea that we have to. Categorically, we cannot fly as many planes, burn as much fossil fuel.
Exactly.
Right. So unless you're talking about, do not build those roads. Then do me a favour. Don't build me those roads or anyone else those roads or those houses. Road? Yeah. Okay. Fair play to you. He's still going to build.
I'll get there in the end.
Yeah, but don't build anything for 20 years until the tsunami of mental health issues that we are going to, and the catch-up we're going to have to do socially, not academically actually with our children, but socially to re-engage and re-socialise in brilliant places like the Bridge Centre. Oh, you've knocked a community building down.
Don't. I should have brought one of my leaflets. I was.
Did you leaflet? Is it?
No, I had a picture of me in front of it with with something underneath saying, this is what Wiltshire Conservatives think of our youth service.
Oh, right. So complaining about it. Oh, okay. Well, maybe we should insert that in this clip because. I wonder.
So I want to get back to.
Yeah, sorry.
Right. So if there is a link road,
look at the time here.
Between if we look at a link road between the A4 and the A350, all that traffic that is at the moment going through the Bridge Centre, going down Bath Road, going down Marshfield Road, causing everybody coming the other way to use rat runs of Loudon, Audley Road, Sheldon Road, even Hardnewsh Avenue. They come down that way, they cut down through Hardnewsh Avenue, down Woodlands Road, out on Sheldon Road, down through Loudon to try and get round town. All that can be removed. Well, not all of it. Fast, because some people still want to get from A to B in the town.
Yeah, of course.
But everybody crossing town, we can get rid of that. Then the Bridge Centre can be redeveloped along with Bath Road Car Park and maybe even have a new youth centre as part of that.
I think because we need to think of less cars. I think you're
no, absolutely less cars. But I don't think you'll ever get people out of their cars.
I guarantee you, if we as a species say, guys, we can't allow every jack and man to drive a car or have two family cars of this. It's a capitalist ideology that you have to acquire sell.
Everybody likes their own, even if it's only a little smart.
Listen,
I get in there
whatever.
Warm,
well, fine. You can't. Guess what? That's because Thatcher got rid of all of those traditional communities, all of the infrastructure around deregularised, whatever that word is, buses, everything else. We need public transport for the public, which is the great majority of people. So if the only way you could get anywhere was by public transport, you would insist that it was up to scratch. It shouldn't be a commercial thing. It should be a provision that preserves The freedom of people to
It's
travel.
getting people to use them, though.
But
I mean,
okay, I'll legislate. You can't have a car. How about that one?
Third world countries,
Yeah.
everybody's on the bus, but that's because they're poor.
Yeah, but that's what I'm
know,
saying. But their environment's richer for it.
Yes.
So it's
I agree.
It's an absurd.
When was the last time you were on a bus?
When I lived in Frome, actually.
Hang on.
Yeah.
How long ago did you live in Frome? You haven't been on a bus since you lived in Frome.
No, I haven't been on the bus since I lived in Frome. I lived in Frome 8 years ago.
I go on the bus quite regularly.
Yeah. No, but listen, I live and work in Chippenham.
Yes, yeah.
So, I get what you're saying completely. But when I go to Bath, do I go by train? Yeah, possibly.
Yeah.
But
The bus to Bath takes a long time, but it's quite nice.
It's a beautiful, beautiful trip.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is this, listen,
if
the only option was, the idea capitalists put forward, everyone should buy a car so that their mates who make cars can sell them.
Well,
if you can't have a car because it's bad for our health, how many people do you think die because of pollution every year, particularly in London?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you should have seen the state of my curtains in my little cottage. Right by the West End Club.
Yeah. So it's a bad idea. Actually, transport in individual people having dirty second-hand, third-hand, fourth-hand cars. It sounds like a great thing, and we all want our liberty, not at the cost of everyone's health. Though.
No, but
you wouldn't be allowed to drive around in a jet plane, would you?
No, but
or you wouldn't have nuclear weapons.
If we're driving electric or hydrogen,
yeah.
it takes a lot of that away.
But then there's the batteries, then there's the cobalt, all
the
mined.
lithium-ion recycling.
There you go. So whatever the system is,
hydrogen.
Whatever the system is, let's just say that it has to be equitable.
Beam me up, Scotty.
Right, it has to be equitable, and it cannot contravene the laws of thermodynamics. Look at them, first and second laws of thermodynamics. However we progress in this new era of civilization, we have to take more than we've ever done. All the biodiversity which supports all our life. We're a part of nature, not apart from nature. We need to look at that. We need to reprioritise people in their places and say, right, okay, we've got this amount of people at this moment. We need to have, if we're going to build any new houses, they have to be environmentally sound.
This is where I come to. So
do it.
This road is going to open up Wiltshire Council farmland. Right, so Wiltshire Council own the majority of the land.
The people of Wiltshire own it.
Yeah.
Forget
we
the
own
council.
it.
Yeah, we own it. Yeah.
We've just done the neighbourhood plan.
Yeah.
And it's been very much driven by the climate emergency.
Yeah.
And I would love. It's owned by the people of Wiltshire.
Yeah.
So the people of Wiltshire should be able to say, right, we want to build an eco village here, which will be world renowned.
Yeah. Well, like
this could be the
Yeah.
best thing that ever done. We could be at the forefront. We could win the Sterling Prize every year for the design and architecture.
Yeah, of course.
For the next 10 years, if we get this right. But we must get it right, and it is. I think it's
explain what that is. Is that anything to do with this distributor road idea that they're talking about?
Yeah, I've always said.
So these three roads that
no. There'll only be one.
Of course there will be, but there's three options, and none of them would know.
I argue that the southern part of this is needed. The northern part, I've never supported. It's a much more ecologically diverse area. You've got the Upper Avon. Yeah. We've got the Marden there as well. And where the Marden joined, this is a lovely little story. It said where the Marden joined the Avon, there used to be it was like a shingle bank. Uh-huh. The water was about this deep. It was one of those sort of summer boys swimming
so
spots.
Like a levee sort of thing.
It was big where the two rivers joined.
And
it was a lovely gravel bank. The water was about that deep. It was beautiful. In the summer you could go swimming there. A tree fell in.
Yeah.
If you're looking across the Avon up the River Marden, a tree fell in and destroyed that whole area. It is like dank and horrible.
Yeah.
If I would have loved, I wanted to go up there and drag that tree out.
Why didn't you?
To turn.
God, we're with you. We're good together.
But yeah. I mean, I don't know how long ago it happened. It must have happened some time ago, but it really destroyed that. Anyway, so I've never been. It's all too much, and it's not needed as long as you've got something to take the traffic away from the town centre. Once we've taken the traffic away from the town centre,
take the traffic away from every centre. Don't have as much traffic.
Yeah, but it's.
But you're talking
about
plans.
I'm
talking about plans that we've thought about for years.
The town growing.
We ain't got the money
in the most sustainable way that is possible.
Yeah.
I'm a builder. I've been a builder all my life. I know it can be done.
Yeah, but did you build sustainable
houses?
They
will come.
I agree, but did you build eco homes? Did you build something in line with what is the new technology agrees?
No, I didn't. No,
well, so any new buildings have to, and they won't be. They'll just be cheap.
No. We can.
No, you want them to be the new ones.
Well, hopefully we can insist because the land, majority of the land owned by us, Wiltshire Council.
Yeah.
So we can have some good.
But why wouldn't you just
direct democratic control to say, look, we're going to do this because it's going to be our mission to make this the most. This is. People will want to come from all over the world to live there.
Yeah, well, they can't.
No, I know because we've already got too many people come to Chippenham.
We've got too many people in Chippenham.
And I welcome you all.
Yes, of course, but we've got too many people in Chippenham for the services that previous to this pandemic the local government government thought. So let's not have any more centralised government. Let's not have any more county council.
This will generate. I mean, I'd like to see the high street pedestrianised fully.
Yeah.
As far up the London Road as possible. I don't think you could go past because you still have to get into here.
Yeah.
This back way, so you could take in. But you've got to get the bus station sorted out. But that could all be pedestrian. And then we can have pedestrianisation up as far as the bottom of Monkton Hill to take in the bridge area where 11s and Revo and the greengrocers and everything. And that could be pedestrianised as well. I mean, a few years back, I went to Potsdam, which is my father's family. My father's German.
Oh, I was going to say,
came from
Potsdam in Germany.
Potsdam.
Yeah.
And of course, it was devastated by parts of it were devastated by Allied bombs. But the town centre they rebuilt, and the whole of the town centre was pedestrianised. Mm-hmm. You couldn't. A delivery van had to go in there before 4 o'clock in the morning.
Well, there you go. That sounds
so. That was fantastic. I went to a wedding in Hungary, in eastern Hungary, in Szeged, which was an ex-communist bloc. The town centre there was all pedestrianised. Yeah. It was fantastic. The shop, everybody was just relaxed. It was, the cafes, the street cafes, the shops. Chippenham now, the high street is changing desperately, isn't it? It's not going to. We're not going to have the same high street as we used to. How the people who invested in those shops and bought them and leased them out at very high rent, and so that only national companies could come in. That has to change.
Oh yeah,
and it will change. And Devizes recently won Best Town in Britain or something for its. I've read it in the Gazette.
Oh, that must be true.
Yes. So anyway, but what they were saying is Devizes is a nice little town, and one of the reasons it's a nice little town is because it hasn't got a railway line, it hasn't got a motorway, but that's by the by.
Yeah.
What I like about Devizes is it's got lots of small, individual, local shops.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to see back in the high street again.
Yeah, but this problem, the Portis thing that was I got involved in however many years ago. The high street was always dying. The way to reinvent the high street is about people and their places. But traffic, any of those old ideas.
Take the traffic out
there. I'd say take the traffic out of the whole of the country. Forget it, people. We have got a climate emergency. You can't just drive around willy-nilly. Listen. You're an amazing guy, and I.
How long have we been going?
We've gone too long. Too long again. I'm just thinking of our children.
I've only got the number 6 on the list. I haven't told you about when I was mayor, or
Well, listen.
And I wanted to talk about the party in the park.
Yeah,
the neighbourhood plan. I did manage to mention the neighbourhood plan.
Yeah.
We've done some great work.
Okay, well,
we
people
want
can
to
check that
put
out
that into action.
So cool. But they can access that. People can access it online, can't they? The neighbourhood plan.
Yeah.
Right. The 21st of June is the Unlock Reset Party for everyone, all community groups.
My
primary
birthday,
schools.
everybody, if you want to send me a card.
And let's have Eagle One have allowed us to
It's a Monday.
use spaces.
You can't do it on a Monday.
21st, yeah, of course you can. We work with schools anyway, so during the day in John Coles Park and stuff.
I'd say let's do it at the weekend.
No way,
let's
man.
do the
It's too
following
conventional.
weekend.
You need to reset your brain, Brad. Yeah, because just like embrace the world. There isn't really 7 days. Time's an abstract concept. So is capitalism.
My birthday's always a day off. So
Right, so we party on in the evening, reset the community, everyone get together, 21st of June, but I'm of course more interested in your other plans and ideas, but there's only so many days in a week and weeks in a day, and I want the editors of this to be able to do at least an hour.
Yeah. Well,
last time we did 4. We'll come back. Listen, we can do this regularly. Because I think it's really important.
It is. I mean, it's like being sat in the pub and saying,
totally.
Really, is it?
So that's what's missing.
So, and the thing is, it's on record. Some of the things we probably say in the pub shouldn't be on record, should they?
I don't know what you're talking about. I've never said anything that shouldn't go on record. Isn't that right, people? You're a great man. Ross Henning, everyone. Thank you very much.
Spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, just another speck in the cosmic shower. All the universe held within the flowers. Messing with your